Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in the Cardinal Cowboy studio. Hey, we got some cool hats. We're sitting outside of Busch Stadium, of course. This is how the Cardinal Cowboy rolls. We're excited. You know, you never know who you're going to run into. I run all over town. You know, let's put the hats on just for a second. Everybody, in studio, this is my childhood buddy. We were the co-MVPs. We didn't get to wear these hats back then. If we could have, I'm certain we would have.
I don't know if it would have fit.
Probably. Yeah, we had big heads back then for sure. Maybe not quite the same meaning, but we were like the best ball players in the world. But we're going to share with everybody a little bit of our story, how we grew up playing ball together. Everybody give it up for my buddy Lane Pietro. Lane is a stud ball player. I'm going to start off, we pregame prepped, everybody. We pregame prepped in the Cardinal Cowboy green room, which is the bathroom off the side of the house in the back with it's the outhouse. No, in the green room is another room in the house that we do our stuff. And we talked a little bit about it. And we played some very serious baseball, especially as kids.
Oh, yeah.
Lane, talk about our little history starting a little bit, and then we're going to talk some details about when we first met as kids playing ball, how the tryout and what we did. That was fun.
Oh.
That was some really fun stuff. If you would, tell everybody a little bit about where that was for you and how that worked out when you were a kid and where you came from. Or just start off with who we played for and where we played. How about that?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, going back, like we were talking, I didn't start ball until I was 9 years old.
You waited until you were 9.
Yeah, I was 9 years old. Played football. When you talk about back when we were playing, you had all these different levels, right? You had the national blue, you had the national red, national white, continental. I mean, it was broken down. I mean, it was an absolute tryout session back then. I mean, it wasn't everybody got a trophy. I mean, you had to try out. You had to be good at what you do. So when I started, I was 9. Ran into you. That's how I first came in encounter with you at Johnny Mac's.
Johnny Mac's.
Yeah. You were in there with your dad, and I'll never forget you were running around, and your dad was screaming, "Carter!" and you were trying to find all these different things, and we're here to buy a bat, just a bat. You had everything else going on.
Well, man, when you played baseball, there was batting gloves and pine tar. Did we have pine tar?
We didn't have pine tar back then. I mean, I was here to buy a glove. I didn't even have a glove.
You had the stirrups, the pants.
Oh, yeah.
The athletic supporter, of course, you had to have.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so I'm going to jump in because I think this is a matter of timeline. I was already on the team, you said?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was already on the team. And so I grew up in Fenton as a kid. And everybody was like, all right, we played 12 games. And I remember my dad wouldn't even let me play T-ball. He's like, this is a joke. You're not playing T-ball. And so all the other kids are like, hey, Carter wants to come join the team. We already got our stuff together, and we're going to let him play. We'll let him be on the team. And what they didn't know is my dad had taken me out in the backyard and hit me hundreds and hundreds of ground balls. So I had a glove and all of the stuff you needed, and I was actually like pretty far ahead of everybody already because they got on the team and they played one year and batted 28 times or whatever it was. But I'd already taken like thousands of ground balls in the backyard. That's my dad. That's what my method is. I got my book. You guys have heard about my book called Always at the Top. And the reason I was always at the top in every organization, sales guy, technical person, whatever it was, because I learned that as a kid, you got to practice. You got to learn inside out. So that's what I did. Then I'm on the team. So my dad says, we're done with this Fenton baseball. We're going to go over to Baldwin, the Baldwin Athletic Association, right? And I'm changing my title here for everybody. There we go. The Baldwin Athletic Association, where I ended up being the co-MVP, along with my buddy over here, Mr. Lane Pietro. And I'll never forget, they said, we went to tryout, and we went over to Parkway South. I went to Lutheran South, we went to Parkway South, they call that, not South, S-A-U-F. Parkway South, and the fields were wet, so they said, we're going to do the tryout on the tennis courts. Neil Schmidt, you remember Neil Schmidt?
Absolutely.
Big Red Sox fan. We'll talk about that in a second. But he goes, and so I'm like, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake, man, because I was already great at picking hops and digging and doing everything. So they took me out, and Neil was hitting balls and bashing all over the place, and I'm just going poo, 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 like I did because I am an incredible athlete. Just ask me. But I was good because that's what I practiced. And so I'm on the team, man. I didn't know. I was a little kid. I'm like, man, everybody, this is Baldwin. Like, everybody's awesome on this team. and they were good, but we had some guys that were pretty good. There were some guys that weren't so good, but none of them were as good as Lane and I, because we were I should have made another title for both of us.
Yeah,
we were the co-MVPs. We're letting out the cat out of the bag here. So I'm on the team. I qualified, and they don't know what level I'm going to be at, but I was good enough definitely in that little tryout. And then fast forward, we're at Johnny Mac's, and did we all go to Johnny Mac's? You remember that story better than I do.
Yep.
Tell everybody how that went and why I was there with you. Was it a team thing?
No, it wasn't
was
a team.
It just my dad and your dad? Or?
No, actually, I went to Johnny Mac's to get a glove because I played football. I played Bonham football.
Right.
And back then, people were like, Bonham shows your age, but played Bonham football. I was a quarterback back then, and so one of the parents said, hey, you ought to try to play baseball.
And I'm going to take my hat off, too.
Yeah, I keep it on.
You like that?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I really do.
Maybe I'll keep mine on.
There you go. So anyway, so went to Johnny Mac's to get a glove. That's where I encountered you, met your dad, and of course got a glove, showed up there, I'll never forget, and then back to Neil Schmidt. Everybody, the whole team was there. I show up. I never forget, he sits down, he tells my mom, he says, look, this is National Blue. This is big time.
This is the big time,
This is big time.
So everybody knows.
This is big time.
There's national, because St. Louis is a National League team, so Baldwin, I think, decided to call National Blue was the top level, American was the other, and then they called the third one Continental.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And there was National Blue was the best, for whatever reason, blue. And then red, I guess National Blue, American League usually used the red, and then the Continental was the white. So there's 9 divisions within one age group.
Right. Exactly.
And so what did they say to you after
that?
So
we come out there, we show up there, I got my glove, everything's looking good, I'm nervous. I never forget, he says, what can you do? It's sort of like, what are you doing here? Well, I was referred, like a referral. Like one of the parents sent me over here. So we showed up here, he gives me a bat, he said, what can you do? Can you hit the ball? So I grabbed the bat, I start swinging the bat. I have a big loop in the swing, everybody's laughing, kind of doing this. At that point, he kind of just toned down, and that's when he looked at my mom and said, look, let me tell you something. He says, National Blue, this is big time. He said, Junior here he's not going to play that much. If he plays, he might get in when the game's won, maybe or lost, whatever. He'll get some play time. It won't be a lot. So at that point, he said, what can you do? Well, I was probably about, 65 pounds. I'm like, I can throw.
Because you played football.
I played football.
You were a quarterback.
Yeah, I was quarterback. So he said, well, here's a ball. Go ahead and throw it to this guy here. Where's this guy? Well, he's a catcher. Throw it to him. So I'll never forget, I threw it to him. He said, do it again. I threw it twice. He said, man, show this guy some wind-up. Next thing you know, they got me moving this, moving that.
Nobody taught you how to do a wind-up.
Not a thing. And so at that point, progressed. I sat there, and when I got in the game, it was the championship game against, I think, the Blast.
The Baldwin Blast.
Baldwin Blast.
Brian Cambler, Chris Shockley.
Yes.
Remember both those guys. I ran into Chris Shockley recently, and somebody said, that's Chris Shockley. And I said, like, Chris Shockley? I played ball with him. He played for the Baldwin Blast.
Yeah.
We played for the Baldwin
Red
Sox. So don't be mad, everybody. I did play for the Big B.
Yes.
The Red Sox. So did Lane, by the way. And it was the Baldwin Red Sox. So here we are.
Here we are.
First year in the league.
Championship game.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You showed you could pitch a little bit. You had an arm.
Yeah.
Lane went from maybe sitting on the bench to like he's one of our pitchers, to where you end up being the starting pitcher, our ace, and you're finishing the championship game against the Blast. You're the starter, right?
Yeah, starter, yeah. Yeah.
Take it from there.
It was unbelievable. So yeah, I get in the game, and I think at the time I had 1 pitch. And it was, I had 2 pitch.
You had a slider, too,
No, I had 2 pitches. 2 pitches back then. It was fast and faster. And so I rear back, I'd throw it, and it was unbelievable. Now, half the time, I didn't know where it was going. I was just as scared. When he said strike, I was shocked as he was, So the guy didn't get hit by the ball. But needless to say, there was a lot of kids that struck out that game, won the game, and of course, we
were the National Blue champions.
We were the champions.
I'll never forget when we played back in the day. We did a lot of summer ball. We would play 30 and 40 games. I remember the one year we were 30-9. Why do I remember that? I was 9 or 10 years old. We were 30-9, which is 40 games for most of the kids. Like the Fenton thing, my dad was like, "This isn't real baseball." We played 12 games.
Yeah.
We're going to Baldwin where they play tournaments. How many tournaments did we get in? And we won like 14 trophies that year.
Oh, yeah, it was unbelievable. And that's when we actually won the trophies. So, I mean, you weren't given those. You won. So another team went on with nothing.
If you won a trophy, it's because you won a trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you recall about those days, though? When all the competitive ball and all the games we played?
You know what? You look back at that point, and you played it because you wanted to play. And there wasn't, in my case, parents that forced you to play it. I mean, that's what we did. We didn't have all the stuff we have today, right? So you didn't have the social media, you didn't have the stuff. You'd go out in the backyard. I remember coming over to your house. I mean, that's what we do. Your mom would make the balls. She's going to sewing these things up here, and we're playing
The sock ball.
The sock ball.
We had sock balls,
Yeah.
and my dad actually made them. My mom would repair them.
Yeah. And then we play for hours out there. Hit them, and then cardio loft another one. And then over the fence we go, or the dog. Yeah.
I hit a lot of, I had a whole lot of home run jacks back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
day when I was a kid. Not that many. I wasn't on base. So you and I ended up being the co-MVPs of the Baldwin. We played for the Red Sox, bro.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
But Neil Schmidt loved the Red Sox. I'll never forget. I talked to him later. I ran into Neil at the Cardinal game, I don't know, 5 years ago, 7 years ago. And I'm like, man, Neil, was I good enough? Did you think I was going to make it when I was like 9, 10? We played together until we were like 11 or 12 or 13. I don't remember. And then we kind of split off and went to different teams. And then high school. And he goes, dude, yes, you were like the star ball player because you would practice and you knew how to do it. And your dad would, and you were going to, if anybody was going to make it, was you or Lane as the pitcher. And then, I'm like, I don't want to jump ahead. What else do you recall in there? Was there anything else in there that you recall that was crazy fun? I just remember it. Now that I think of it, all those freaking trophies, man.
Oh no,
Boxes of trophies I've got.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, in fact, I think I bring them to work. Oh yeah, I think they're on. I think they're on the. I gotta tell my wife. I think they're on the windowsill. And then I walk in from time to time. I don't want to make a big deal about it. You know, I kind of look at them. You know, and kind of just smile. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was it.
Boxes of trophies.
Right.
So all right, so I'll jump ahead a little bit just because you know a little bit about my story and where we played ball together before the coma that I had when I was in a bad situation. We'll get to that, but I'll never forget. I ended up playing Ellisville, Baldwin, same area, David Freese and Ryan Howard and all those guys, and you obviously were out there too. And Lafayette, you went to Lafayette.
I did, yeah.
Were those guys how much younger than?
They were.
I think 6 years.
They were probably. Yeah, I think they were. I think they're 5 years younger. You know, when I played at Lafayette.
Yeah.
You know, we had some good talent there. I mean, Lafayette put out some good talent. They
Well, heck yeah, they got two
great coaches.
A bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Did McClellan go there? He was I think Hazelwood or something. But yeah, I mean, literally, you were the star. Were you a star pitcher for the baseball team? I know you were the quarterback for the football team at Lafayette High School.
I was a quarterback running for my life every game. So back then I was 155 pounds. And so everybody said, "Hey, you're the second leading rusher on the team." I said, "Well, you would be too if you were 155 pounds. I mean, you're running for your life." And everybody in the stands are cheering, and you're sprinting. And they're thinking, "Man, this guy's a good athlete." No, I just wanted to live. That was it. So, yeah.
They were going to kill me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. So, yeah, we're out there. Go bring it back just a little bit because I wanted to talk about, we talked about this in the pregame, as we say. As we sit out in front of Busch Stadium, everybody. You can see the windows between us, but there's at least windows keeping us from falling out of our building onto the street right in front of Busch Stadium with our TV wall behind us. But I'll never forget, I'd gone back to playing in Fenton. By then, Fenton had kind of picked up their game. I was playing for two teams. I was playing for the Ellisville Pacers and the Fenton Raiders. And so I ended up playing like 60 games at that point. But it was really interesting because there was only like conflict between like two games. Mm-hmm. So I played 30 for one team and 29 for the other. And it was great. But then the Raiders, we ended up going we won all Missouri, and then we went over playing Illinois. But I remember along the way, we got into the Sullivan baseball tournament. Do you remember this? I know you do, man. This is where my dad figured out that I was quite the communicator, if not the salesperson, right?
Right.
And it was we got in this tournament, so it was an open tournament, and anybody could sign anybody. There wasn't like you had to be in a certain league, you had to go to certain schools. Like you bring your guys, we're bringing our guys.
Right.
And we played against Eureka mostly. Most of the kids we were playing against were the Eureka guys. It was Mike Hunt and Chris Friend.
Oh yeah. These
guys all went Division I, Mizzou. And we're playing against them, and we get to the championship against these guys, and we're short. We had Marty pitching and Tyler pitching and Dave Sconce, and these are so we use our three aces. We need another pitcher, and I go, man, I'm going back. I'm dialing back to bringing it back to the old school for an old fool who's so cool. And I said, I'm getting on the front butt of my. I'm calling Lane up. I get on the phone. I get your dad on the phone.
Was he sober?
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I said, Mr. Pietro, Mr. Pietro, we need Lane to come down and pitch. 'Cause we're like 15 years old, can't drive.
Right.
I need you to bring Lane Pietro, your son Lane, down to Sullivan, Missouri, which from Ellisville, where you live,
Yeah, that's all.
was like an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. And I grew in Fenton. It was only 45 minutes from there, right? But we did that, and you showed up, and everybody's like, who's this ringer guy that's never been on our team before? And I'm like, don't worry about it. I learned that Italian from the Pietros. Right?
Well.
I said, don't worry about it. And so you show up, and I'll never forget this. So I'm the shortstop, and I'm the lead off, and I'm the guy scoring all the runs and leading the team in average. And I think I was MVP 2 or 3 times of that team. But I'm set. But I got my boy. He's my buddy. Lane is going to bring us this championship. We're out of pitching. I'm like, who is this dude? Carter says he's good. He must be good. We get out there, and it's like the first inning, and we're up like 2-1. And they scored a runoff. You're like, oh, come on. He's already given up a run. Bases are loaded. Nobody out. And I look at you, and I'm like, Lane? I'm like, Lane? I don't remember if I said this or not, but I was thinking it. I'm sure. I'm like, bro, get it together. We got to win this. We're serious. We're 15, and we are dead serious, right? And I'll never forget, you kind of looked at me like, cowboy, zip it. Go back to shortstop. Go back to shortstop. I'm putting on the cowboy hat for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I said, all right, brother, don't let me down. Next 3 batters. 1. It was like that cartoon. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. Lane Pietro, ladies and gentlemen. Zah! Hold on, I got to change. Zah! Yeah. You're out. And this is what we did. I was like, that's right, everybody. Cardinal freaking Cowboy. You don't even know that's coming yet because that didn't happen for years. But we got this. And Lane Pietro, bam. These guys all ended up at Mizzou Division I. Chris Friend, Mike Hunt, all these other guys they had that were stud ball players. We had our crew too.
Yeah.
And we beat them.
Yes,
and
we
took
did.
home the title for the Sullivan tournament, which obviously had a lot of the best teams out of St. Louis and drive out there. And that was like the last time you and I played ball.
That was it. Yeah, that was the last time.
And that was pretty awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah, you still remember all that stuff.
Isn't that cool? I mean, those are the memories. Kids, play baseball, play sports, do something with your family, do something with your buddies. This is where you're going to make friends for life. I saw
crazy.
Lane at
Walnut Grill.
Walnut Grill. I'm like, dude, is Lane Pietro? You look.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, bro. You were down the street from where you grew up. I mean,
You actually said that I slimmed up from that time. Isn't that something?
you look slim.
Yeah,
for
that's,
sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's because I wear a 4X shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that
I
makes
said, buy them big, baby.
All right, so let's talk about your little career, and I want to talk then. We'll talk a little about your business too, because I think sports. I talk about this all the time. Sports helps develop people into very competitive people that want to be the best and run a successful business.
Sure.
If you don't happen to make it, because you got some. Talk about your high school career, and then talk about what you did in college, and some looks that you got, and then how you got into baseball or your business and what you do professionally, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So I, out of high school, I went to junior college. So I wanted to play football in college. I was too small. Could run, but the wind would eventually blow me over because I didn't gain the weight until I got older. But
Right.
So I went to Merrimack. I redshirted my first year at Merrimack. I played for Coach Lessman.
Played for Lessman.
Yeah, fantastic coach. We had great athletes. From that point, I went to Arkansas and Little Rock, D1. We were in the Sun Belt Conference. So went down there, and I finished out my career there. Unfortunately, I had 2 arm surgeries, so that's always not good when you're a pitcher. Out of college, started with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Started working for them. Worked my way up to a manager. Yeah,
Another St. Louis-based.
There you go.
St. Louis-based company. That makes sense.
Yeah, worked for them for 3 years. Became a manager. Left there and worked for a medical company. So I handled the marketing for them. I had a passion at the time for cleaning cars. Kind of crazy, but that's what I enjoyed doing. It brought peace to me. So on the weekends, I'd go out and clean cars. I was, work stressed you out. I'd go out there, take a wash mitt, wash the car. Little did I know that would transition into a business. So I started my business in 2000. I started with one van. I had the division of going mobile. So I would go around to realtors, beauty salons. I'd wash their cars. I'd do it on site, right? So I wanted to bring the convenience to them. So at that point, one thing led to another. They didn't have the internet at the time. That was kind of the old AOL. I guess it was just starting out. The
Right.
old dial-up. It took you 45 minutes to basically be able to sign on, and then another 2 hours to actually get on, if you
Right.
could.
No,
But
the interwebs back then were very. So I never forget. I was working at Circuit City right out of college and doing money I made there. I'm like, ratio. I was making like 60 grand, 70 grand there, but whatever. But got to know the manager, her son. She had to go out of town, so I just said, and I was living with my parents at the time. About 27, finally, I got a house built and all that. But my parents were like, if you go to grad school, you can stay in the basement and it'll save you a lot of money. And I'm like, okay. And but anyway, so we had the dial-up internet.
yeah.
And it was a limit. And I'll never forget, her kid had got on the web because like nobody else had internet, and barely few people did, but my dad made sure we had that. And we ran up like a $300 bill in like one night for this kid. I'm like, hey, it's a really expensive way to get the boss's kid to stay at the house, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, man, that back in the day, that was 2000, 1999.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
About 1999.
I wrote my grad thesis in '98. I graduated in '94 and got my master's at '98. And wrote the paper all about the internet. So yeah, 2000. I'm like, this internet thing is going to be I think it's going to catch on, everybody. I think this internet thing might be something that you should consider. And so that's why I do this show and all the stuff that we do. And your little castle show we got on right now on ABC, and really helping businesses do all that stuff. But the internet back in 2000.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Okay, sorry. I had to
No, unbelievable. So yeah, we came back at that point. I started looking into car products at the time. So there was products that I was using. You know, like anybody else, you go clean a car. You're going up to the store to buy different products. Hey, do they work? They don't work. What are you going to do here? So I found a great product line all the time in 2000. We then expanded on that line. We came out with our own line. Back then, we'd been through numerous websites throughout the time of the business and added different products. But we came out with our own line, and when we started offering, the essentials where people can save time cleaning their cars with strong products. Then that transitioned into opening up a shop, which we did. We opened up a detail shop. So we started doing the likes of certain dealerships. We would detail their cars. Retail customers would come in, we'd detail their cars. And then we expanded from there into a spray company that we actually offer to dealerships, and we go around and we spray their vehicles with purified water. So a lot of the outside. So these cars have been detailed, right? They've already been cleaned. So people that are walking through the car lots, they're looking for, the price on the car windows. And a lot of times after it snows, rains, it gets all spotted. They can't see through the cars, right? So the guys are out there and they're spraying these vehicles down once a week. So it keeps the appearance of the cars looking good. Right. It keeps the cars fluffed up to where they're walking.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it looks like, hey, there's not a bunch of bird droppings on the car, there's dust and pollen, whatever the case might be. The cars are kept up. So we have basically 3 different segments of the business, which the synergy ties it all together. It's the detail shop, it's the spray business, and then we have our own car care product line that the do-it-yourself guy out of state can come in and buy and use the same products that we found a lot of success with over the years. So yeah, that's
so. You couldn't probably tell because you're telling an incredible. That's really a neat story. But on behind the scenes, everybody, look up on the wall. LanesCarProducts.com.
Holy cow!
It's up there on the screen. You can see we got there. But whatever's on that screen is on the wall behind us.
Unbelievable.
And you're right. That site is awesome.
Pretty good.
You have done it the right way. I'm going to analyze the heck out of your site later, but I can tell you, aesthetically and easy to read. And let's do a little bit of little scan of the site here. So this should be live.
Oh, so you can scan that, right?
Yeah. So there it is. So look at that. We'll scroll down.
That's something.
You have a great look. So people can buy their stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right here. I'm going to go ahead and switch this over. We're going to be off the camera here for a second, which I think is fine. But let's go over here, and I'm going to switch this over. But yeah, so look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is a live shot of Lane's professional website, Lane'sCarProducts.com. This is a good-looking site. What's the first thing you would say is something if somebody's really just, I need to keep my car in top-notch shape? Is there a kit? What do people do?
Oh yeah, a lot of people, they'll come in. Well, a lot of people really don't know. They'll come in the beginning, unless they call and they'll look for direction. But usually people that are do-it-yourself people, they're going to come in and they're going to say, hey, I like to wash my exterior, I like to have clean wheels, and I like to have shiny tires, right? So they'll get a soap, they'll pick up the tire shine, which is a huge seller. You can kind of see a shot of it there, how shiny it makes the tire look. A little video there, it kind of shows on the outside of that tire what it does. So it kind of shows there, you know, kind of a fast shine of the tire, but they love to have that kind of the tire shine that lasts a long time. It goes through rain, snow. It just protects the tire, doesn't turn it brown. So it's a great product. We have that, and they'll buy that, and they'll buy our wheel cleaner, right? So our wheel cleaners, we have two different kinds, but the strong one is the new aluminum, is a big seller. So they're going to start out and they're going to buy the things that they normally do, which is going to be the soap, the wheel cleaner, and the tire shine. And then once they use those, they'll see the strength of it. Then they'll start coming in for the interior cleaners. And then usually they'll call for direction and say, hey, how can I save time? Or, hey, I want to start a little business on the side. And then they'll buy the products in bulk and then start kind of their own deal. So it just kind of starts off as some people as a hobby, and then it turns into a business for them when they just kind of come in and buy certain products that they're used to doing already on their cars.
So help me understand what you got going here. So effectively, you're the supplier for the guy who wants to start up his own detailing company. Is that called a detailing?
They can, yeah, absolutely. So if someone comes in, they want to start their own business, we can supply them with the products, equipment, just the things that they need to, you know, the tools they need to be successful. And then a lot of times they'll call in just to talk to me to say, hey, I'm starting the business. What should I do about pricing? You know, what do I need to do about this? You know, maybe paying employees. How do I do all this stuff? They don't know. So I always spend extra time with them to say, hey, look, this is what you need to do, or this is where I found success. And a lot of things that I've done has been through trial and error, right? I mean, you go out, you try something, you're not going to be successful when you first try it, and it takes a while. So whatever I can do to save them time, that's what I do. But yeah, it's that kind of commonality. There are people that want to just buy it to use the products for themselves. There's people that say, I have a business and I want to start a business and I want to buy products in bulk that work.
And so what I think it sounds like you've done here is, because I'm not a major car enthusiast. Mm-hmm. I always drive a nice car. I think my trick of the trade, if anybody wants to know if this is worth it or not, might be another tip in my book for always at the top, because like I said, #1 sales guy and 1,800 sales reps, whatever. Very strategic with everything that I do. That's kind of what we learn from baseball and sports, right? And that is, I decided that I would buy the cheapest luxury car, because you never want to look like you're the broke guy.
Right.
But you don't want to look like you don't drive around in a Lamborghini. People are like, this guy's making too much money. I'm not going to. But you want to look like, but along those lines, and make the car look good. It's got to look clean. You got a junked up car on the inside, or even on the outside, it's like a no-brainer. That's just like, you kidding me? You can't do that. But then people get inside the car and they're like, this guy's sleeping in his car, living in his car, eating his car, and then also never clean it. That's not how you want to have it either. That's where you help people get this together. And so my point was, I've made all kinds of purchases for all kinds of things, and I have no clue if they work, if they're any good, if they don't work. They seem to get the job done, but I don't know how much money I've wasted on products that were well marketed. They look pretty. They were in a nice, pretty container, nice packaging. And when it came down to it, I could have saved a lot of money if I'd have gone right to what you're saying you provide right here on your website, and you've tested all of it. You know what the good stuff to get is. You know what stuff not to get, and you make it easy for people.
Exactly, and that's the biggest thing. You want to make it easy for anybody coming in. People basically don't like a lot of choice, right? I mean, you give people a lot of choices, they're going to be hard-minded to come in and say, I want this, this, and this. They want to have something to, here's the products, here's the results you're going to get, and this is a time frame you're looking at. And so when they achieve those results at that point, then that's what makes them happy to come in and try different products. They just want the, here are the products, here's the results, here's what you need. So they basically, I found out they don't like a lot of choices when you look at, especially in the car stuff, because there's too many products out there that they claim to do this, this, and this, 20 different things with one bottle. It's amazing.
Yes.
And
a confused mind does not ever make a decision, right?
Absolutely
when you're doing sales 101, if you're in front of somebody and you're going, and we can do this, I'm guilty of that sometimes, but you got to straighten that out, or you're not going to be a good sales guy. So here's your options: option 1, 2, or 3. Mm-hmm. These are the things that work. Which one do you want? Not, are you interested? Does this make sense? It's, which one do you want?
Right. Absolutely.
And because you've got to get them into a position and make a decision so they can get on with their life. And if you're doing good stuff, you're giving people good quality products, then you're going to help. You're going to get repeat customers, right? They're going to come back to you. So that points me to the last point you made earlier that I want to reiterate, and that is you started doing this back in 2001. Is that right?
2000.
2000. So we're talking 22 years now,
Absolutely.
going on 20. Well, if you count 2000, then that's like counting zero, right? Because 0, 2, 0. So you have 21, 22 years already. You're going in your 23rd year.
Isn't that crazy?
How old are you? You started when you were 7?
25.
25 year
Just,
old.
hey, you know what? Just turned 50. Isn't that
The big 5-0.
5-0.
I'm almost there myself. Cardinal Cowboy is the big 4-0.
Oh yeah, it's done.
Because I started I started the Cardinal Cowboy back when I was 10.
Ooh.
Back in 10. I had it right. 10. Back in. Oh, these are my actual personal rings. I do have championship for football. I helped with this team, the Rams, not directly, but and then and these 2 Cardinal ones I helped with. But anyway, I have in 1982. I've got that ring. That's when the Cardinal Cowboy started.
Wow.
When the Cardinal Cowboy started, in theory, we don't know, we don't track the exact date, but pretty sure my dad bought the original red Augie Busch cowboy hat, which I got somewhere here, and we got another copy. The guy said, the Cardinal Cowboy should have this, and he found me on the internet, and he sold it to me for $200. But I got the original one.
Wow.
Beat up. But it all started in 1982. And so that's been going for a while. But I didn't start a successful business from scratch and get it going like you have. Now for 22, you're going to, a couple of years, you're going to have 25-year anniversary.
And that's something. What did I get? Hey, I wonder what I get for that.
You
A
get
25.
If you own the company, I think you give yourself a Timex. You don't buy like Rolex for yourself, right? You give the Rolex to the guy who runs the company.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. It's hard to believe. 22 years, man.
That's absolutely freaking amazing. If I'd have known that,
Yeah.
I could have saved you some hassle. I know you're. We'll talk about it off camera, but I've been doing internet marketing stuff since 1990, well, 1994 or so, and then for Anheuser-Busch for 10 years, and then when InBev laid everybody off, then I did my own stuff. But if you want to do internet marketing, come talk to me and we'll help you out. If you want to get some car stuff that's going to be the best quality stuff that you can find, and this isn't just available in St. Louis, right?
Oh no, yeah.
This website is allowed to be trafficked anywed anywhere in the world.
Oh,
right?
it's beautiful. Yeah.
So where else? What are the biggest? I mean, anything in America, obviously. What's your biggest state besides Missouri, or where do you get most of your sales?
Oh, you sell a lot. You sell a lot of California. You sell a lot all over. I mean, it's some months you look at it and you say, oh, this is a great state, and then all of a sudden it shifts. So it's hard to tell, and that's what makes the internet so unpredictable, right? I mean, you just never know how it leads or how it comes in. But it's obviously with people. The car industry is huge out there. The aftermarket industry with wheels and just aftermarket stuff they put on cars. It's just a massive industry, for people, and I could see why. I mean, why a lot of people like that. You get married, you want to kind of get some space, peace, get in your car and drive.
Your car for drive for
and probably sometimes your wife wants to get in the car and drive away too. Both
Right.
you guys are going in different directions. The whole family's going, but
As long as you come back together at the end of the day.
yeah.
That's another story. We can't talk about that. Baby, you go do whatever. I just worry that you come home, and if you're not, then that's all right. That helps you make a decision. But all right, Lane. So you've been doing this for 23 years.
Yeah.
You are obviously an expert. We're just really kind of proud because we have selected a short list of professionals that we will work with, and we give exclusivity. So this is your car detailing expert right here, exclusive with Your Little Castle. Your Little Castle show, yourlittlecastle.com. We're looking for leaders. This show, we're going to cut this thing up. We've been on here for like 4 hours now, and
51.
50. Right. And I actually had a free ticket to watch the new Kurt Warner movie tonight, but I told him, I said we started talking late, and I'm not going to make the movie. I'll go to that some other time. But my agent, the guy who starred in Kurt Warner's played Kurt Warner, is not. My agent's not his agent too, but they're both out of Tulsa right now, he said. So he's trying to get him to become his agent because they're both in Tulsa. How you end up in Tulsa? That's not the mecca for Hollywood right now. But Hollywood, California, the world's quite a bit different now from the way it was. But Lane, we're just excited. I'm just super pumped when I saw you like 6 months ago, whatever it was, a year ago.
Did I change?
You look exactly the same.
Are you kidding
look a little more strong and
I do?
buffed out. Yeah, that's for sure. And then
Let's say it to the camera one more time so my wife hears that.
Lane looks just as buffed out and as athletic as ever. ladies and gentlemen, and that's because he's a super athlete. Yeah. This guy knows how to compete, and he knows how to run a successful business, obviously. And that's why we are looking for local leaders. And Lane, when we talked, I'm like, dude, you're on, man. You're one of my best friends from when we were kids, obviously, and we hadn't seen each other for a bit. But when I saw him, I'm like, that's Lane Pietro. He looks exactly like he did back in the day, only better looking and more muscular.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
And we'll better put you on camera so everybody knows what I'm talking about. There it is, right? But give it up for Lane Pietro. Thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Oh, man, it was awesome. Unbelievable.
And I think we got a lot of fun stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And bring in all kinds of other businesses that we're going to work with to help them be highlighted in our little world on this show, which right now I've already talked to some of my sponsors and partners on this. We're going to be in Orlando very quickly. We're going to be in Texas, Dallas. We're looking at Atlanta and Tulsa, of course, Kansas City, Chicago. And all those cities you're in, I bet.
Yeah.
You can buy Lane Pietro's Lane's Car Products. There it is on the screen. I'll put the wide angle. Here we go. Lane'sCarProducts.com. Check that out, everybody. Get a hold of Lane or get his stuff. Lane Pietro, Lane'sCarProducts.com. Thanks again, Lane, for coming on Your Little Castle show.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
Lane and I got a lot of catching up to do. We're going to be talking for another 3 or 4 hours. His wife is very comfortable with the fact that he might just be out till 2 in the morning.
She'll worry about me probably when the sun rises. She might when she wakes up. Right.
But she's an awesome wife. You guys have a great relationship. Great daughter. You have going to Mizzou right now.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, couldn't ask for anything better. Yeah, she's doing great in school and both very supportive. And I couldn't have done all this. To be honest, I couldn't have done the business without her. There's no way. She is very organized, hard worker. Daughter's fantastic. She's doing great at school, great sorority. Good grades. You can't ask for anything better than that, I think. And to have a relationship, to have the marriage, and have a great kid is just it is exceptional, you know. So, you know, hats off to both of them for the support and what they've done and given me back. So, it would never have been possible without, you know, I would say my wife to be where I am, you know, to do this. So.
There it is, ladies and gents. So I mean, that was a great point you make there, because it's hard to run a successful business unless you've got awesome support from those who love you, including especially your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you brought that up. It's something a lot of people don't bring up when they talk about their business and what's made their success and the hurdles that they've had to overcome and the challenge that they had, but the things that they figured out because they stuck with it and made it happen, and you did it for 23 years.
Yeah, you think, but here, you know, you think about all these things, and you think about it's easy to go back into business, and I think a lot of business owners look at this and you say, hey, look what I've done, look what I've accomplished. Look at everything, and at the end of the day, it doesn't mean you're only as good as the people you're surrounded with. And I've found that out real quick. Okay, at first, hey, look what I got. I'm doing this thing, and finally, it was you know, just me, right? And so you just me's not going to do what needs to get done, right? There's only one person there. So at the end of the day, you need that support. You need that. That comfort to be able to prolong and to push you in the direction that you do, and you make the wrong decisions. You need someone there to say, hey, you know, it's okay. You're gonna maybe the next one will be better, and then when you keep making the wrong ones, which I did, I kept getting these same lies. The next one's gonna be better. The next one's gonna be better. The next one's gonna be better. So, at the end of the day, though, this is the success it's a team effort. You know, however you look at it, it's a team effort. All the way from your employees to everything else, you know?
Well, absolutely. And so, ladies, one more time, everybody give it up for Shane Lyday. That's a good Lane. Shane Lyday. Lane. Shane, I'm thinking baseball. I don't know where that came out, but all my baseball. Shane's one of my closest buddies, baseball guy. Didn't know him near as long as Shane, Lane. All you guys are just some of my best friends. And it's just, you make these kinds of relationships from playing sports.
Yeah.
You get to be friends with kids in the classroom a little bit. I felt like I didn't make as many friends in my classroom as much as I did. And I was kind of like the little kid that was like afraid to talk to people, and so that doesn't work real well. But when you get on the field and you can show the other guys, hey, man, I can play some ball.
Right.
Now you're everybody's friend.
Oh, absolutely.
And you make those relationships with everybody, and that's the way I think a lot of us don't even realize those relationships when we're kids. We obviously don't realize those are the relationships. We're going to wake up and be 49, 50 years old and say, oh, my God, dude, I remember back when we were 9 years old.
It's amazing. And we have to keep the memories alive, because as we approach older age, we're going to soon forget.
Yes, and that's
coming up soon.
It's something that you've got to keep perspective on, and it's just awesome having it. Thanks, everybody. Give it up for my buddy Lane Pietro, and he's done an incredible job running a successful business here in St. Louis, and deals with, I guess, car dealerships, tons and tons of those guys.
Oh yeah.
And who to work with, probably could tell us. We're going to talk some more of that stuff. Maybe we'll have you on again and share some of that information. Fastlane Mobile Wash and Detail, lanescarproducts.com. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back for another Your Little Castle show in just a bit, everybody. Stay tuned. Giddy up.